Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly Westenfeld, the Director of Collegiate Recruitment and Communication for the College of Arts and Sciences. I would like to welcome you today to our virtual open house, where you will have the opportunity to learn more about the academics and opportunities available to students within the Computing Sciences Department in the College of Arts and Sciences. Today, we have faculty and student ambassadors available to speak with you and to answer any questions that you may have about the programs. If you do have a question, please enter it into the Q&A box and we will answer those throughout our presentation. Now, I would like to introduce you to the Department Chair for Computing Sciences, Dr. Carolyn Rosine. Dr. Rosine?
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Carolyn Rosine, like Kelly said, and I am the chair of our department called Computing Sciences. And with us, we also have Roy Venegas, who is a professor in computing sciences as well. And we have a couple of students, Tyler and Maggie, who are joining us as well, so they can give you the student perspective. So with that, I'm going to go on and talk about the academics and what are available, and I'll have Professor Venegas and Tyler and Maggie chip in as well as I go along. So just a brief overview of what computing scientists do. As you see from this list, it's very, very varied. It's not limited to what you see here, just because you can apply yourself in so many different ways. I'll talk more about the different programs that we have with different focuses depending on which one of our majors you choose. But you'll see that you can be a software developer, game developer, you could be developing databases, working on networks, working on the front end, working with user experiences, and so on. You could even be a mobile app developer, should you choose to do that. But the possibilities are almost endless. And so I'm going to talk about the programs that we offer next. We have 3 separate majors and 2 minors. I'll talk about the minors as we go. But we have 3 majors that we offer. The first one is computer science. This is probably the most traditional of the programs that we offer. You'll see computer science at a lot of other schools as well. But we also offer a variation to that, which is computer science and engineering. So we call the first one CS for short, and we call the second one CSE for short. So the second one incorporates engineering into the field as well, and I'll talk more about the differences later on. But our third program is multimedia web design and development. And so that focuses on the web and developing for web applications. And it's still in the computing field, right? So all 3 are will fall under our department, which is called Computing Sciences. So at this point, while you're shopping for a major, shopping for a school, you're probably not even very sure about the differences between these 3, but I'll talk more as we go along. So computer science, in computer science, we focus on algorithms and software. That's basically where we develop software. From the bottom up, we'll start you with your very first programming language if you've never ever programmed before, all the way up to, applying yourself using different programming languages, different environments, different areas of computer science, such as databases, algorithms, theory of computation, that sort of thing. We offer 2 bachelor programs in computer science. That's these first 2 bullets up here. And the first one is a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, whereas the second one is a Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science. Now, for now, you need to not worry about, you know, which one should you choose, or, you know, what the actual distinctions are. That's something you can sort out later on too, if you wish. You could, you know, during your first year, second year, third year, you can then choose to see which one of the two you want to graduate with. But just to give you a quick run through of the differences between the two, the BS has a higher math and science concentration. And so you'll be more focused on working on more math and more serious lab science courses, whereas the BA, because it doesn't have that, you will have more sort of like more free room or free courses in your program, so that you're able to take on more other alternative courses, or other pick up maybe a minor or a second minor to complete your degree with. Um, the, the third bullet that's listed here is not really meant for the typical high school student coming into college. This is more for people who already have a bachelor's degree, but we offer this as well. It's called the Certificate in Computer Science. If you're interested in that, please let me know and I can talk to you separately about it. The fourth bullet here is a minor in computer science. So that's, let's say you choose to major in English. I'm just picking one as an example. You could minor in computer science. So that has a smaller set of requirements that would be required out of you, because you'll be satisfying your English major courses mostly, or for the most part. So that's what computer science is. Again, focusing on algorithms and software. Whereas in computer science and engineering, or CSE, we only offer one track, which is the Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science and Engineering. And so this will combine computer science and computer engineering. And you might say, well, what is computer engineering? We just talked about computer science. Computer engineering focuses more on the hardware component, as opposed to computer science, which focuses on the software of computers. Okay, so it's really a combination of the two. Very, very heavy in math and sciences, even more so than CS. And you're integrating both hardware and software. You'll really understand the computer as a whole, not just from one perspective. It doesn't mean that if you are a CS major, you'll never ever see or know about hardware. You will still see some hardware as a CS major, but in CSE, you'll have the entire perspective, you know, from both sides. And so most programs at the university, or most universities, require 120 credits for you to graduate with a bachelor's degree. So that's the same with CS, but for CSE, you will require 131 credits, which is still doable within 4 years. So with that, we're going to go on to our third program, which is MWDD, or MWD, Multimedia Web Design and Development. Like I mentioned earlier, it focuses on the web, the visual aspects of your web content, as well as developing software for the web as well. Graphic design, aesthetics, interactive and interactive media, internet and interactive media, as well as the user end of programming. We also offer a minor in MWD or MWDD, similar to the minor in CS. You might have a different major. Let's say you choose to major in CS. You can pick up a minor in MWD, all still doable in 4 years. We've had many, many students that have done that. With that, that's the academics. I want to see if Professor Venegas has anything to add in addition to what I've covered based on these 3 programs that I have talked about.
should be able to hear me now.
Yes.
Great, perfect. So yeah, I guess I can speak more to the MWD program because that's my specialty. The web is a hot topic right now. Clearly, it's been a hot topic especially hot topic for the past 6 months as we've been locked down in the pandemic. The whole world is essentially surviving through the internet. So it's a good space to be in. There's a lot of work in it at the moment, I guess. I'm assuming because a lot of web work needs to be done, I work remotely. So it's a good program to be in. I've been working with the web for 25 years now. And I'm one of 2 or 3 professors in the department that specialize in technologies that are centered around the web. And you learn how to do things like build web applications and build web games and web apps essentially from something as simple, something like, I don't know, Gmail, for example, or a game like Pac-Man, just to toss some ideas out there. But they're all, everything in between, including these 2 kind of bookends that I just mentioned there.
Very good. You know what, guys? Pandemic or no pandemic, web still going to be a hot topic. Probably generations.
So there's an audio issue, and I don't know if it's my computer or if it's Carolyn.
Again, the rest of you hear me. All right.
So I'm getting an echo, and I'm not sure if anyone else is.
I am.
Tyler, you're getting the echo also?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, there's an echo coming off of Carolyn's machine there. Oh yeah, there's a deep echo there.
So that's going on. Hopefully it passed. But you can't understand what I'm saying.
A little bit. I think it depends on how good my hearing is.
Okay, refresh my menu. I would disconnect and reconnect by teaching class. I want to do that right now. Is this better?
Oh, I think it's not going to work. Do you want me to fill in the time while you maybe start Zoom? Or something? Yeah, great. Sure. So let me talk a little bit more about computer science in general, or rather the MWD program, and then I could talk about computer science. So in the MWD program, the D is, it's actually MWDD, Multimedia Web Design and Development. The term is a little bit dated. Multimedia was a buzzword in the 90s. It no longer is. So we are considering renaming it, but D&D, design and development. So there's a design component. The design component comes from, we offer a class, or rather there is a class for our students over at the Hartford Art School. And if you're familiar with the University of Hartford, you know that the Hartford Art School has a very strong brand. So we're lucky enough to be able to partner with them to have them offer a design course for us. So there's one component, one of the design courses. Some of the courses I teach, there is a design component to it, but I don't teach any classes that that specialize entirely on design. But for example, in the intro web design class, in the full stack class, or rather, I'm sorry, full stack class, the full web app capstone class, there's a lot of design in that because students build an entire web app and they have to design it as well. So there's a strong design component to that. Also, because we're part of the computer science program and the web is, well, it's computer programs. The language is different. The language that that essentially drives the web is a language called JavaScript. It's the most popular programming language in the world, and it's for the web. It's not the best programming language, but it's the most popular programming language because of the web, just like SQLite is the most popular database in the world, not because it's the best database, but because it exists on every single phone in the world. So JavaScript is this language that's been around for 25 years. It drives the web. So we spend time learning that. We spend time understanding concepts that you could also use outside of the web. So if you were to study web design and development, and then you decided that you wanted to do something else. Maybe you wanted to work a little bit more on the back end. You are exposed to those technologies in our course here. Again, also, if you were a major and a minor, perhaps a major in computer science and a minor in MWD, or maybe even the inverse of that, you could decide as you go through your course. It's all technology. It's all manipulating logic. It's all critical thinking. It's just that the MWD program has a front end, a visual design component that is not really present in the other programs, because the other programs are very strictly engineering based. They're focused essentially on logic and very little outside of that, and that's important. That's why computer scientists make a decent living, because manipulating logic in your brain, handling logic, is very hard. And most people, before they do a CS program, haven't thought at that level. So when you go through 4 years of a rigorous computer science program, whether it includes MWD or not, well, you handle logic in a different way. You think, your life actually changes. And I'm not exaggerating. When you understand how to deal with logic, everything becomes logical to you. And that usually comes from thinking logically at the beginning when you do a CS program. Carolyn, how are we doing over there with your audio?
So everyone. All right. How about you help me out? Or you be my voice, and I'll name the slides.
Okay, so we're going to try something here. Give me 1 second. Okay, so let's see. So I've got the slide deck up. Okay. Okay.
I'll run the slides.
Okay, perfect. There you go. Okay, so we have, in our department, we're small. So one of the nice things about our program is that we are small. So there is this teacher to student ratio that's very nice, right? If you were in another school, you might have more students, fewer teachers, less time for you. That's not the case with us. You see here that we have 6 people. Are we all listed here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somebody missing? Is it 6 of it? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So we have Professor Rosine, Professor Russell, who are people who have been here a very long time, so understand exactly how the school works. They're my go-to people. And everyone else has been brought on within the past 3 years, actually. So myself, Professor Becker, who sits next door to me, Professor Jung, Professor Islam, who just started with us last month. We're all new. So this is a new experience for many of us. And then Professors Rosine and Russell, they are our go-to people. They're people who are seasoned in the program in the school. This is why Professor Rosine is our chair, and why Professor Russell has been the chair in the past there. We have specializations, and you can see them here. Some people, so for example, Professor Islam just came in. He's dealing a lot with internet security. I work with design and the web. Professor Becker works a lot with algorithms, so more logical based, more strictly logical based, and so on. So you can see their specialties in this slide here. Go to the next slide, maybe.
Oh, if you can hear me, we could possibly be 8 people next to you.
I did not understand that. Oh, is there a question here? There's a question in the Q&A. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a question. Maybe, oh, that's right. That's right. So it's possible. I didn't mention that because I wasn't sure if I should. We are looking for more people, or there was a discussion that we might be looking for more people. So we might have 8 people on our faculty in the coming year. So hopefully that will happen. Sorry, Q&A. I'm not sure where the Q&A is. So I see, oh, I see. There's a question here from Kevin Velez. What category does game developer fall under? Game developer falls under, so we do offer game design. We offer 1 and 2. So you can take a year of game design. It's it's computer science, right? So you could take the game design class and you can build games that will natively work in web browsers, or you can build a game for a phone, or you can build a game as an application for your computer. So it's computer science. That's what it comes down to. It's computer science. And games, very early on in the first generation of games, they were written in a very low level language. And today that's not done anymore. So in the languages that we learn in our program here, those are the languages that would be used to build out games. Oh, sorry, they're going very quickly here. If I want to work in IT, would it be possible to double major in both IT and CS? Or should I major in CS and minor in IT? IT. Do we offer a degree? We don't offer a degree in IT in our department. I don't know if the school does. I don't think it does. Yeah. IT is not a discipline that we offer in our department, and I don't think it's a discipline that's offered in the school itself. You would just major in computer science. Okay, all right, great. Oh, yep, our facilities. So let's go back to our slide deck here. We have, I'll get back to the lab, to the questions in a moment. So we have some nice facilities here. We have just across my office here, we have a nice VR lab that Professor Becker handles. Some very cool toys in the VR space. So that's definitely technology that is clearly taken off at the moment. We have a lab just at the end here that is designed for students to work quietly. We have a bunch of Linux machines in there, plus a lot of Windows machines. We have classrooms on this floor. This is our primary floor. And when I say this floor, I mean the third floor of Dana Hall. This is where all the professors sit. So the professors split the space. So about half of them are over there, or more than half are on that side. And then the other half is on this side. Our office, we have, like I said, we share this floor. Our program coordinator sits downstairs. We have 2 more spaces downstairs. And downstairs we have a big student lab where a lot of students like to get together and do their work. We have system administrators who are usually students, and those students sit in an office right next to this student lab. So it's very integrated, if you will. They're usually some of our top students who work in sysadmin, so they help us, the teaching staff, they help the staff, they help the students, and they essentially maintain our systems, our web systems, logging in, all these things that have to do with technology. They're the ones who take care of it right now. One of our sysadmins is on this call at the moment. Next slide.
Maggie, can we see?
Oh, there we go.
Come in and am I sounding all right?
Now you sound great.
Awesome. Thank you for doing all that. Maggie, are you on? Can you say a few things about working as a system admin for the department, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
With your mask.
Huh?
With your mask.
Yeah, gotta be safe. Anyways, yeah, so I started working as a sysadmin last fall, and it's pretty fun. I learned a lot of stuff, and we basically manage the servers, all the services that the CS department offers, such as Git. What else do we offer? We offer
Web server, email.
yeah. We also have like a Mac TS server now, but I don't know what's going on with that. And this semester it's just me and one other person, and we're kind of figuring things out. We're doing our best. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
You're doing a good job, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad.
So the way, I just want to explain a little bit about how it works. So the department, Computing Sciences, runs its own servers the servers that Maggie had mentioned, plus a few more. We also, in these pictures here, you'll see computers everywhere. And these are all part of the computers that Maggie and her colleague support. We have over 100 workstations between 2 classrooms and 2 labs that are dedicated to computing sciences students. And so as a student at our department, you would get an account, what we call it a CS account, because you would only use that account on our machines. You can go to the university library and use a computer there, but that computer has nothing to do with our network here. So all of our machines will all look the same wherever you are, whether you're in a classroom or in a lab. So you could be working on a project, let's say in a classroom with your professor, and then when your class is over, you would move down to a lab downstairs and you would have all your files all still accessible to you because they're all connected and you're all on the same account. So all of that is maintained by Maggie and her co-conspirator here, Erin. Both of whom, by the way, are supervised by Professor Venegas.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so any questions on that, guys? All right, somebody is asking if we can build a PC or a computer in computer engineering. So building as in taking all the parts and putting it together and is that what you guys probably mean, Jack means by building a PC? Honestly, my honest answer is probably a no. That's not something we do in college. That might be something you do as a hobby, but I'm sure that with a computer engineering background or even a computer science or a computer science and engineering background, you would be able to do that. That's something that you would just naturally learn to do along the way, but it's not something you do in a classroom setting. So anyway, there are lots and lots of opportunities available to you. It's not just straight up academics. Internships abound, especially where we are located. We're very close to the insurance companies in Hartford, grad school employment, and I'll talk a little bit more about what REUs are in a second, but you'll see some of the companies that we have placed students at, whether as an employment or employer after graduating, or an internship while they're in school. And Tyler Riley, another student who's with us today, has had an internship. Tyler, you want to come on and talk more about how you got your internship and your experience with that?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So the one thing that I kept in mind when looking for an internship was where I wanted to go. I had a lot of opportunities. So not just Hartford or where I live, but I looked where my family was. So I looked in Chicago, Seattle, and Houston. And I just looked for jobs in that area. And eventually I got an interview with a company in Houston called Stewart Title. And the interview wasn't really technical, so it was pretty easy. And going into it, I didn't really know anything that they had me doing, but at the end of it, I felt like I really had an edge on my peers and the workforce. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, experiences like that are all over, and you can find lots of internships. Some of the ads come through us, some of them kind of like Tyler. He just looked for, on his own because he was targeting certain areas of the country. We've had, like I was saying earlier, lots of students doing internships at these companies around us. REUs are it's a research experience for undergraduate program that's put on by the NSF, the National Science Foundation, And these are popular ways to get you some experience doing research, that if that's your cup of tea. And they typically pay $5,000 flat for 6 weeks during the summer. And they are all over the country, and we've had many students who have gotten REUs and gotten, you know, a lot out of it. This is something particularly good if you are looking to go into graduate school when you finish. So that'll be a good thing to have under your belt and be on your resume as you apply for graduate school. Anyhow, yeah, Tyler and many, many others have had many, many internships that have been very rewarding. So moving along, I just want to talk a little bit about other majors that might be related to all three that we offer here. So you might be confused as to, you know, what is what. I don't even know the difference between, you know, CS and computer engineering, for example. So I've differentiated between the three that we offer. So I list a couple more here that do not belong to our department, but are within the University of Hartford. They're both under a separate college called the College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture. We call it CETA for short, CETA. They offer a Comp E major, which is a computer engineering major. They don't call it CE because CE for them equates to civil engineering. So Comp E, the main focus is hardware design. And this is the program that we took, and we took that and combined it with computer science to form computer science and engineering. So you're basically getting two majors in one when you do the computer science and engineering program with us. Another one of their programs is something called CET, that's computer engineering technology, where the focus is on hands-on hardware design rather than on the theoretical bits of hardware design. Those are available to you as well at the University of Hartford. So those are our program, guys. We've answered a few questions. Are there any other questions that you might have? So again, these are us. These are our emails right here. Should you have any questions, feel free to send us an email. No questions. So I'm going to turn it over to Kelly, who is our host.
Hello again.
May I just say one thing here?
Yes.
Yeah, so there was a student, or sorry, a participant who asked a question about whether they would learn how to build a computer in our program. So I built them before, and I didn't learn how to do that at school. And I recently did a search, I don't know, about a year, because I was considering building another one. And there are a million tutorials on how to do this online. You really don't have to you just have to be inquisitive and not be scared to break anything. And if you have those two things, then you can learn how to build a computer very, very quickly. It takes some time. The research will take probably longer than actually building it, because they're all so modular. But if you did want to build a computer, you can learn how to do it in a few hours online. And then your research and how much money you have and how much you want to spend on the processor, on the RAM, on the motherboard, on all the peripherals and so on. So I just wanted to chime in on that.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Thank you. And then also another student just asked a question about how many minors typical students may carry. So the way that our curriculum is broken down within the College of Arts and Sciences is you have 120 credits to graduate. A third of them are for your major. The second third would be for all the general education courses you have to have. And the last third are what we call unrestricted electives. And that's the category where students will tap into the courses to fulfill a minor or possibly a second major. Dr. Rosine or Professor Venegas, can you talk about maybe some of the minors you find your advisees may have with your programs?
Sure, I can do that. And I'll let Roy chime in too. But before we go further, I just want to clarify that not all majors have the same number of requirements. Some are more rigorous, or the list is longer, like CSE, for example. I would not even dream of a student picking up a minor or a second major with a CSE program. As I mentioned earlier, it's going to take 131 credits to finish. Um, Whereas with the CS program, you have some room to pick up either a second major or a minor or two. Okay, I guess the question was how many minors? There's really no designated limit. It depends on how much can you fit into your schedule. Um, and that's assuming you just want to do a fall, spring semester, not take any courses in the summer nor the winter term, which are optional. We've had students who major in CS. I'd say by far the most common double major, second major, is mathematics. Okay, the second most popular would be MWD, or maybe they're both tied up there, MWD and mathematics. So one thing to think about as for you who are coming into college is if you want to double major, how far apart are those two majors? Let me give you an example, real life example. My daughter was a physics major in college. Okay, physics. One day on her second year, she calls me up and she says, Mom, I want to pick up a minor. I go, yeah, in what? Art. She wants to do art. I'm like, of course, my first question is, how much longer is this going to take, right? If she had told me that her second major was going to be in math, that's going to be a given, right? Because as a physics major, you take a lot of math classes. So there's going to be a lot of overlap. I knew that right off the bat. But with art, because it's so totally different, I knew that it was going to take extra time, and which she made up over the summers, and she did get her minor in art. But yeah, so that's the math that you got to do. But for our CS program and our MWD program, it's very easy to pick up 2 or 3 majors. I'm sorry, a second major and maybe 2 or 3 minors is what I meant to say. Professor Venegas, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I have found, so I've only been here a year, so I don't have that much experience seeing where students are picking up minors here and there. I do have students, however, who study web design and development, and who also take more classes at the School of Communication. They're interested in this intersection of journalism and the digital age. So, right, the way you do journalism today is different to how you did it, I don't know, 30 years ago, or direct to print. Now it's all live on the web. So I have found that a good amount of students like to combine a minor in communications with a major in working with the web. And it really is a very, very nice combination for people who are more politically motivated and so on. So.
Thank you. If I may add, recently we've had a student double major in CS and in criminal justice because they wanted to go into cybersecurity. So that's a good combo. Years ago, I've had a student who was very interested in writing sci-fi. So he was a CS major with a second major in English. He was developing his English skills. So whatever you want to combine, whatever your interests are, we can help you come up with something that'll work. At the very minimum, it would be a minor as your second or your third choice. All right, I'll turn it over to you, Kelly.
Yeah. So both of our students have to leave very, very soon for working class. So I thought I'd ask both Maggie and Tyler to come back up for 2 questions that I want to ask of you. So my first question is, if you could share with our guests today why you chose to come to the University of Hartford. And my second question is, what piece of advice would you give to a student thinking about coming here? So Tyler, how about if you go first, because I know you have to get over to work.
Sure. So I chose to come here because of the class sizes. I really like having a more personal connection with the teacher. I feel like I learn a lot better. And what was the second part of that question?
What piece of advice would you
Oh,
give to a student thinking about coming here?
I'd say don't be afraid to go outside of your comfort zone. You know, just like start joining clubs and see like where your interests lie, and maybe you'll find something that you love. Yeah.
Dr. Rosine?
Can I say something about Tyler? Because Tyler's really cool because he forced Riley in the department.
Oh yeah, and I've got 2 of them in my class. I've got 2 Rileys in the class now. He's one of them.
Yeah, so
Knowledge of-
Tyler has had cousins. Talk about them, Tyler, quickly, if you can.
Talk about my cousins.
Sure.
Okay, so the first cousin that went here was my cousin Ricky, and he works right now for edX, which is a
Mm,
company
the
based out
MIT.
of Boston. Yeah, they work with MIT and they have classes online, kind of like Khan Academy, but I think it's a little different. I'm not entirely sure. And I think he just accepted a new job as a more senior role. I forget the name of the company though.
edX is a great place. edX is pretty awesome. It's an open courseworks from everything that comes out of MIT and Khan Academy. I think he also went to MIT, but yeah, exactly. All open. So the edX stuff is all the actual courses, whereas Khan Academy, they're all courses, but designed to be consumed strictly at the computer, where a lot of the edX stuff is cameras in the classroom and they're doing things like that. But yeah, a combination of that. Oh, very cool.
Very cool.
And Tyler, your cousin Ricky, I didn't realize that was the relationship because Ricky was actually one of my student ambassadors when he was here. So you'll have to
Really?
tell him I said hello.
I will.
Okay, so Maggie, since you have to get to class soon, the 2 questions for you, why UHeart and piece of advice as if someone were to come here?
Yeah, so I chose UHeart because I came here, I shadowed one of my dad's tennis friend's daughters here. Like, when we were here, and I sat in on one of her lectures, and I just really liked how like interactive it was, like and how small the like just like together the class was. And I thought that's like a really good way to learn. It's how I like to learn. And I also just really liked the vibe on campus, I guess. Like everyone is just really friendly and really open, and I really liked that. Kind of like felt included right away. And a piece of advice I'd give to a student coming in is if you even have like the smallest interest in something, just go after it and see if you like it, jump into it, get involved. We have the computing club here. I'm the vice president for it. We do a lot of cool stuff and always looking for new members. It's a great way to like meet people within the major and try different things, explore new ideas. So yeah, that's my advice.
Great, thank you, Maggie. And also, Dr. Rosine and Professor Venegas, I always like to ask that question of the faculty too. So if you could give a piece of advice to our listeners today who are thinking about coming to UHeart, what would that be?
Do you want to go first, Carolyn?
No, you go first.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to go back to the class size thing. It really is when you're taking classes with 8, 9, 10 other people, it's much faster camaraderie that you create, a better connection that you create with faculty. Within a few weeks, you're saying hi. It's really easy to open up conversations, start a dialogue about learning. And I think in a place where that's not the case, it's just much harder. In the end, school is so much about the people who are teaching you and much less really about the buildings in which you're taught. You can have the fanciest buildings in the world, but if you don't have a faculty with whom you can create a connection, it's just not there. Okay, you take the inverse of that, you have faculty available to you, perhaps in smaller buildings with fewer students and just a more tight-knit community. It just makes for that memorable academic experience.
Yes.
I do want to say one thing about Maggie, by the way, just to give you an idea of the kind of person that goes to school here. Maggie's a pilot. Maggie flies planes. Okay, so you'd be going to class with people like Maggie who have these so she's a computer science major. Sorry, Maggie, if I brought that up for you here, but
It's all good.
she flies planes. She knows, so we work together. She knows how incredible I think that is, because I am terrified of flying and I don't do it. So the fact that she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go for a flight, and she gets on her plane and she just goes and flies, that's amazing. So just to give you an idea of the kind of person who studies here and who your classmates will be. Your turn, Carolyn.
So that goes to show also the kind of relationship we have with our students. We know what they're doing on the side. So I was going to actually bring that up because I went to grad school at a state school that's nearby, I won't say which, where classes were held in auditoriums with at least 200 students. Okay, there's no way the professor is going to get to know the students. There's no way they even know who is in class and who's not. Whereas here, you are going to get that attention. We're going to know if you're not coming to class, unfortunately. There's going to be an empty seat right there where you normally have sat. So it's that kind of close connection that we have with our students that are very, very special to us. Both for Professor Venegas and I, we're here teaching where we are because we also value that same kind of thing. You know, you might see it from the student perspective, but for us, it's also very important. So that's it for me.
All right. Well, thank you. So if our guests don't have any additional questions, our contact information is on the screen, so feel free to reach out to us. I would like to thank all of our participants today. I know that Tyler and Maggie already left because they had to get to class and work, but thank you for joining us. And this call was recorded, so if you want to watch all of us again, you can definitely do that, and this will be available shortly through the admission office. If you have any questions regarding financial aid or admission after today, if you visit the admission website, there's a little Ask Us tab on the right-hand side. You can speak live with a counselor Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30. And additionally, there's more major specific programming happening the rest of this week. So again, it's all listed on the admission website. Check it out and sign up for more of these major specific webinars. So thank you again for joining us and enjoy the rest of your school year. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.